think, we're set. Okay, so hi everyone who's tuning in. Thank you very much for joining us today. At the moment, we are discussing the opportunities and potentials of the new Aquarian Age with nutritionist and holistic coach Aisling Fitzgibbon. Um, so thank you so much, Aisling, for being with us from one
Thanks a
aspect
million.
to another. Thank
Yeah, I
you.
was going to say thank you, Aisling. Right back at you.
Yes. So yeah, I would love to know what your interpretation of the Aquarian Age is and what kind of potentials it could hold for us at this time.
Yeah, well, for me, the Aquarian Age is something that came into my awareness when I was around 29. My mom handed me a tape of an astrology session that she had read for me and her when I was 4, but she didn't want to give it to me until I was really ready for it, because she didn't want to impose any, this is going to be your life, this is who you are, before it was the time. So she kind of let me discover myself and do my own thing and go down whatever pathway I wanted to go down. But anyway, the astrology chart had said, and the reading had said that I was here, along with my mom, to be part of the Aquarian Age. And it just made sense to me, because I'd gone through so much myself at a very young age, and I was brought to a really bad place in my health, with my health breaking down at 19. I ended up going on antidepressants for 4.5 years. I trained as an occupational therapist, and I suppose during that time I was constantly questioning, why aren't they talking about like the relationship between food and health, and all these things were kind of coming up for me, and I was gravitating more and more towards like natural health and healing. And then when I qualified, I just decided to really take my health into my own hands, and that was how I went to see a nutritionist, and that totally changed the direction of my life. And at the same time, I had come from a very stable career that I had laid out for me. I was qualified as an occupational therapist, and it was like a really good career and all laid out, all very much in the known. But yet I had this like activation when I started to heal my body, that came through when I was journaling, and I just kept saying, you're here to teach like this new way that's outside of the medical model, and return people to understand how to heal their bodies. And so this all came through. And I suppose when I learned about the Aquarian Age, then when I started getting into more like spiritual teachings, I realized that it really is about bringing in the new. And I felt like I wasn't deciding to do what I wanted to do at that time. It was more a case of I was pulled onto my path. But then once I kind of reorientated myself and I felt better in my physical health, I realized, okay, I can't unlearn now what I have learned. I can't go back. I have to go forward, and I don't know what forward is, because it's completely the unknown. And for me, that's what the Aquarian Age is being brought to these junctures where you're being asked to leap off the cliff into the unknown. And that can come for others, for many people, through different ways. So for me, it came through my health breaking down. Other people, it can come through, other kind of life crises can happen to bring that through. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a crisis either. It can just be that you're making that decision to go into the unknown. But really, for me, the Aquarian Age is to bring through the new and to birth the new into reality, and to really follow the highest calling, even if you can't see what is beyond this current step, And for me, then, like we were just chatting before we came on live, you were talking to me about the moving from fear to trust hashtag that I use all the time. And that whole like moving from fear to trust came in summer of 2017. My mom said to me, she's like, who are you here? You're like, who are you? And like, why are you here? Like, what is the thing? So we're just kind of like teasing it out, and we're like writing out loads of ideas on our whiteboard. And I was like, just what came through was, you're here to help people move from fear to trust and cross this bridge from fear to trust. And then I just kept writing and writing that, like constantly, just kept coming through. And that then kind of brought me to the next kind of juncture in my own life, where I was really brought to my own like biggest fear, which was like my mom was basically the person that walked beside me and was on this path with me, and she suddenly became unwell and ended up in a coma, and she passed away in May of 2007 or 2018. Just like, you know, a couple of months after really I had really set out on this journey of moving from fear to trust, and it was like I was met with my biggest fear. And I had to go through that, and I was shown by going through that like so much beyond what I'd ever like conceived of. You know, there was like another layer came off me on every level. You know, it was like, and just being able to open to trust and to receive that support from so many people that came into my life, and also through, you know, contact with my mom in the soul world, which I didn't even know would be possible, even though I kind of had ideas, because, you know, she always said to me, you know, death isn't the end. And, you know, and before she passed away, she'd said, I'm an eternal being. And that really kind of held me through the whole experience. But I know that, well, she gave me a message through a very dear friend of mine now. Her name's Mary Helen Hensley. And she shared that, you know, she's like, I was to bring you up to a certain point, and then it was her time to exit at that time. And she said, have no doubt, you know, I'm still working with you from the other side. And I know that for a fact, because she's done things now that she probably couldn't have done here physically, just magical stuff. Not to say that it was very, very tough, like to grieve and to go through that process of losing like the person that was my anchor point here. But at the same time, again, it was like I felt like I was being prepared, and also kind of called again, you know, to just like let go of fear and let go of like separation within my own self. And I feel like that's really part of my own journey with, you know, helping to guide other people on this path. Not that I'm have it all figured out, you know, that I'm still learning every single day, but that I'm on the journey with people. And just being like a lighthouse that, you know, no matter what is happening, whatever is kind of falling down in your life, or, you know, falling away, that it's to trust that you're always held and supported. And sometimes life has to destructure to bring through a higher order. And so that will be my perspective of what's happening now. And, you know, at this time in our evolution, I think, you know, we all know, especially if you've been on this path for a while, you've known that a lot of change is going to come through. And it's just that destructuring process is very difficult to deal with, because on the surface it looks like, oh my God, everything is falling apart, it's terrible, I should panic. But actually that panic is the thing that really shuts you off from being able to open to the inspiration and the ideas that are all around you, that universal wisdom that's all around you, that will give you whatever is the next step for you, because we all have our own unique path to, you know, to experience and to walk.
Yeah, and I know that before the call as well, we were talking about how moving from fear to trust is a process, and sometimes we do have moments of anxiety or worry, because at the end of the day we are only human, and do have our challenges, but it's about not beating yourself up when those moments of fear happen. It's just about bringing yourself back to that trust and being very gentle with yourself.
Absolutely, yeah. And that's for, you know, for me, you know, I train in nutrition, and I work, you know, that's my kind of primary focus, is supporting people with nutrition. And that was the thing that I really turned to in such a big way when my mom passed, was like, I just had to be so gentle and so supportive and so nourishing to my own body to heal and repair my nervous system, my adrenal glands, my brain that was completely frazzled from the whole thing. And I really see how, you know, like these whole ideas around, say, moving from fear to trust, and being able to change your perspective, like they have to be also, you know, with the support of your physical body, because we're living in a physical body. And I think if there's an imbalance there physically, that can manifest then as, you know, your thoughts aren't as positive, or you can't kind of organize yourself as well if you need like that support, especially if you've gone through like traumatic change, which it can often come in that form. And just to know that like you can repair and regenerate your health once you give yourself that support. But again, it's not to say that you have to be perfect, because it's like everything is a journey, and it's just about going, okay, what is the next easiest step that I can take today to help me bring myself into that place of feeling trust. And for me, like, the body gets so dehydrated in fear. Stress makes your body dehydrated, so hydrating your body and increasing the amounts of like fruits and vegetables that you're having, lemon water, celery juice, coconut water, all these things like nourish and support your central nervous system to just go, relax, you know. But like, so oftentimes when we're in that state, we end up going for, you know, sugary things or coffees or salty things or things like that like can overstimulate our body. So it's just to be able to start adding in the things that are going to be more nourishing. And that's for me, like, my whole kind of philosophy is like, you know, focusing on the highest outcome, and that is a constant practice, because you have to come out of like an ingrained way of thinking, you know, like that's always focusing on the problems, which is really the way, you know, our ego works, and obviously it's designed to keep us safe. But when that's kind of left unchecked, it can keep us in that loop that keeps us stuck. Then, you know, it doesn't open or expand us to like new possibilities that are there. And because I think when the unknown is there, sometimes you're just in the void. You just have to like sometimes not even have an answer. You just have to be in nothing. Like, you just have to not know. You have to become comfortable not knowing, and not always needing, you know, not needing to have that answer of like, okay, now I have my action plan for the next 5 years. Like, let go of that, because the Aquarian age is really about becoming like really a courageous way shower of what is within you, like what wants to come through you, and follow that. Like, follow the yellow brick road, the little breadcrumbs as they appear. And that's where I think the change is coming through, and you'll be called and you'll know. And if you hear this, you'll probably, you might already be there, but you know, you'll resonate with that. And seeking out other people who are on the path for me has been so essential. So, you know, my fiance Richie, who I'm with now, I met him about, I can't remember, 7 years ago, we're together. Like that. So he's on his own path, very individual path, and we both support each other so much, like incredible support. And I have amazing friends as well who are also on their own path. So it's really about supporting, you know, surrounding yourself with that support of other people who will get it. Because it can sound, you know, it's hard to relate if you're not having that experience yourself. So yeah, I would say like to seek out other people to kind of give you that courage to keep going and to keep taking those leaps of faith, which they are, especially in the early days, until you kind of get the evidence that then shows you, okay, yeah, you're on the right path.
There are a lot of people at the moment who are having to, maybe because circumstances have forced them to leave their old job, and they're wondering, what can I do next with my life? What am I passionate about? What do I feel able to do at this point in time? And obviously you made a big leap yourself from occupational therapist to focusing on nutrition. So what would you say to people who are maybe looking towards a career change or wondering what it is they're really passionate about?
Yeah, I mean, and as you say, you know, you're in that situation where you can't kind of work in that job, or that job is now going, and it's really about kind of making a list, really, you know, a starting point of like, what are you passionate about? Like, what are the things that like most bring you joy? And just, you know, and again, sometimes we have to make this complicated, like we were saying, but actually it's very simple, because the clues are always there. You know, you kind of always know underneath, but it's just kind of giving yourself the time and space to explore that. And then just start somewhere. Just start, you know, it could be a case of like, you know, somebody, oh, sorry, you know, somebody who is doing something in the area that you're passionate about, and maybe like reach out to them, or like find out what is the next step. Like, do you need to retrain? Like for me at that point, back in 2010, I had to get to that point where I was like, okay, you know, what do I do? You know, like which road do I go down? Do I go over here and, you know, stay with this, but follow this thing that I have no idea what it is. I just decided, look, I'll just retrain in nutrition and take it from there. And, you know, so it's really like each kind of chapter of your life is a chapter. You don't need to have like the whole book. You just need to go, okay, what will bring me like to this next step? Do I need to retrain, or, you know, what is the thing that I need to do to bring forward the new, you know, whether you want to become self-employed or whether you want to work in a company, like what are the skills that you need for that area?
Yeah, it's about, I suppose, taking it slowly and going for the simple steps and just gradually moving yourself forward.
Absolutely. And then like for me, I met a really great business coach then, so she was a really great help to me to explore like, how do I, you know, once I qualified as a nutritionist, I was like, how do I do this? Like, you know, they don't teach you how to do it when you train, you know, it's just like, there you are, you have to kind of figure it out yourself. So yeah, I got really great support to help me to be able to set up my coaching practice, my nutrition coaching practice online. So I work online, and, you know, have been doing since 2016. And yeah, so just kind of get the support that you need, whether you need to get, you know, maybe work with a business coach or a career coach, or, you know, there's so many people out there that would be a great support. And just to, as you say, take it slowly, take it step by step, but take some positive action. I think that always creates an energy momentum to then kind of signal to the universe, okay, right, you're shifting your priorities and you're stepping into it. And that's always so scary, especially if it's like, oh, well, am I going to make money? And, you know, oh my God, do I have to invest this money and all these things? But it's when you know, and you kind of have that burning feeling, this is the path, then it's just, you just have to be courageous, like, and it is scary because, you know, you don't know the outcome, but that's the journey, is to learn, like, to let go and take those action steps that will bring you closer to what is your dream and what is your vision.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Aisling, for joining us today. Then for people watching, you can find out more about Aisling at her website, aislingfitzgibbon.com. Thank you so much, Aisling.
Thanks a million. It's been lovely chatting.